In this video, I designed a medical emergency drone from a blank page to a finished concept, and I ran AI through every single step, from research to the final render. The catch is to keep it on a leash, and this is how I did it. Hello everyone. Quick hello for everyone who is new here. I'm Emre. I'm an industrial designer, product designer based in Freiburg in Vizcom, Germany. I usually don't stick to one lane. I focus on products, hardware, interfaces, and full concept work. And in this channel, it's here where I show the whole process from blank page to a finished concept, mostly through Fusion 360, Blender, and some of the times I'm also using AI for my workflow. So I'm here to share my workflows and learn from you guys and explore new opportunities to express ourselves and design better. Yeah, if watching design problems get solved out loud is your thing, yeah, feel free, you feel at home. Also, if you liked the video, please like and subscribe, leave some comments please, it helps a lot to beat the algorithm. And there's also Patreon page that we have that I am posting constant updates whenever I see time, whenever it's like not 40 degrees out there that I just cannot sketch at all. So I am looking forward to see your comments. Your engagement helps me a lot, helps this channel a lot, and I hope it will also help you a lot as well. So yeah, and bring them likes. So where have I been? A few weeks off. Workload first, then I traveled to Turkey, and then I came back and find that if Turkey was an oven, Germany this summer was the seventh level of hell. And it was like 35 degrees when I landed in Basel, and it was already like too much, and it went on for like a week, and I couldn't even like sit in the office to shoot any sort of video as well. But I was preparing some stuff in Turkey, although I didn't have the setup. I only did some like usual productivity stuff. I just wanted to share it with you guys this week, so you'll see how you'll like it. So while I was away, I started working on a project built entirely around AI in the production pipeline. It was using Vizcom for imaging and Claude for thinking the work up front. And so this isn't just the design breakdown, it's a full run through how I actually use AI across a project from start to finish. And more importantly, how I keep it on leash so it serves a delivery instead of running the show, which is generally a thing among most of the AI artists out there, that they just run it through the prompt, that they just call the art, and like they have zero eye, or how can I say, like zero input on whatever is being outputted from the AI landscape, which is something that's also driving us crazy. And also, like, I'm so sick and tired of seeing the same thing all over, and everyone thinks that the design business is done, and they produce all the stupid stuff, and they just go with that. So yeah, there's the end times, I guess. But yeah, we will try to thrive. So the project that I picked this week was a medical VTOL drone for emergencies. So what VTOL is vertical takeoff and landing. Because in a world that's mostly built drone to take things out, kill, or like destroy, I just wanted to design one thing that actually brings stuff back or like keeps them alive. And there's real room for it actually. Medical drone delivery has already moved out of the cool pilot project phase into actual healthcare infrastructure. The service market is still small but compounding fast, and roughly $500 million towards $500 million in 2026, growing around 25-30% a year, on track for several billion within a decade. And blood and plasma are the single biggest use case for that, because that's where the minutes matter and rule of stock out can kill someone. And Zipline, it's a company, and they're making delivery drones / also they're being used in medical emergencies. Has flown over 65 million deliveries and just raised $600 million to expand across the US, Rwanda, and Ghana. Drone networks have cut vaccine spoilage by up to 80% and blood waste by 2/3. And the thing holding the market back isn't the aircraft, it's the regulation, specifically permission to fly beyond visual line of sight. And that door is opening right now in the European Union and United States. Drones have already carried medical aid into earthquake zones in Haiti, Taiwan, Philippines after Typhoon Haiyan, and across Nepal, where floods, landslides, and avalanches routinely cut the whole villages off from the outside world. A quick note, if that market breakdown was useful to you, a like genuinely helps this video to land in front of the other designers, so yeah, maybe you can like and subscribe. Anyways, let's get to the build. So it starts with Claude. I was going to share my screen on this computer, but all my files are on my Mac, so I'll be recording there as well, and I'll go through all of it with you guys. I'll try to be as self-explanatory as possible. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down there. When I scope a project solo, the first thing I do is to figure out which people I'm missing in the project. For almost every project is the same two: a research and marketing lead and an engineer. And the people who would normally hand me resources, and more importantly set the boundaries I get to design inside. I use Claude to stand in for both and the front of the process, and I run it like two different colleagues in the same chat. As a research lead, I gave it a standing brief, a couple of weeks, pulled the recent startup and tech landscape, and had me 2 or 3 directions worth chasing. So I always have fresh problems to feed the portfolio. For whichever I pick, the AI spins up the starting kit, a mind map of the problem space, a technical spec sheet, and a user profile and user story. Those are some base research elements that I always go back to while I'm designing, so I won't get lost. I would also have it stress test the idea, just like who is already in the market and what's actually the gap, what will make this thing pointless, or what will make it prominent. Better to hear that from the AI in 10 minutes than from the market in 10 months, or uploading that to like online, like LinkedIn or like Behance, and just ask for people's feedbacks or like wait for their feedback, you know. Then I switch the hats and treat it as an engineer. This is where AI earns its place for a designer who isn't one. I ask it for the hard constraints before I draw anything. For this drone, I meant the AI walking me through a VTOL power budget and a rough payload versus range, and many other technical aspects. Also, if you'd like to hear more about this process, please just let me know. Maybe we can do a deeper dive into this. I'm still trying to understand how this actually works, so I think having walkthrough video about like how I managed to do this will also open me new boundaries. So feel free to let me know in the comments. So yeah, you can have a look. And to the juicy parts, finally. I think you guys were here for that, so let's jump in. So with the direction locked, I moved to the form. Plenty of the reference hunting first, just to get the blood flowing a little bit, and I wasn't actually chasing stealth or aggression. I wanted something durable, flowing, and reassuring. A shape that reads as reliable and calm, not tactical. It should promise relief and not threat. And because it's VTOL, it's built as a hybrid, what's often called lift plus cruise or quad plane or layout. 4 rotors handle the vertical lift for takeoff and landing, and a single pusher propeller at the tail drives it forward once it's airborne. The wings and tail carry the control surfaces. That's what gives its real maneuverability in cruise, not the rear prop on its own. Vertical when it needs to be efficient, like a plane when it's covering distance. And on paper it says right in the envelope of German hybrid VTOL delivery drones already flying today, roughly a 2-meter wingspan, around 25 kilos at max takeoff, cruising near 140 kilometers an hour, and holding steady in winds up to 50 kilometers per hour with gusts past 70. It's carrying something a person's waiting for. It's built redundant, multiple lift motors, dual batteries, dual flight controllers, so a single failure never drops a cargo. I added maintenance hatches on top. I think they're also visible on the sketch and here on the side, and I also have added them into the other sketches as well. You probably have seen that. So those are reserved for those are for quick access for maintenance, and I have reserved the underbelly for entire payload. For a medical drone, that's the most important volume on the aircraft. Has to be insulated for cold chain cargo like blood. Ideally as a quick swap module, so a unit can be reloaded and will go back in the air in seconds. Realistically, that's about 5 kilo payload, enough for several units of blood, vaccine, cold box, or emergency drug kit, or any sort of small stuff that is actually needed in the emergency situations. Imagine like getting stuck in a mountain and you need a rope or anything that's like vital. Someone would call like in such situations, and it carries them all in 75 kilometers on a full load, and it can stretch to 100 when it's actually lighter. On the nose, it sits the sensor suite for long range awareness, and this is where the AI shows up in the hardware itself, not only in my workflow. It runs AI based detect and avoid using ADSB, FLARM, and remote ID with live visual recognition to read the airspace and steer clear of the obstacles and so on. It also can be managed manually with a remote operator. So next phase is Vizcom. After establishing the overall design kind of form, I decided to pick up the most prominent shape in the sketches. Like it's generally, for example, if it's a car, it's a side view, or if it's, I don't know, if it's, let me find something else. If it's a controller, for example, it's the top view, just to like the most prominent silhouette of the product. For this case, it was the top view, because I believe, for example, Vizcom will fail me while it's trying to generate the other views, and I wanted to start from the base that is more like easy for it to understand and set a ground basis for us to start communicating together, you know. So I thought this would be a good start, so I just grabbed one of my sketches. I think it was also in the previous video while I was sketching on the paper. I just grabbed that and just basically just mirrored it over and just made a top view and put it up onto the Vizcom. And as I have probably mentioned, I have generated the prompt in Claude. So since Claude already has all the information about how the technical aspects of the design, I thought that it would be more suitable for it to explain me in a prompt that I can copy and paste into Vizcom. So I just copied that and just brought it over here. It's basically this. I just put it here. It's quite long and I pasted over. I also asked for Vizcom to go over it and just perfect the prompt for itself, because the language models for each AI platforms can be different, from like the images, for example, or like the words or the data that they are being fed can be different. So I kind of allowed Vizcom to get that information and somehow like get it to its own terms, its own mindset. So we're just setting another ground basis so we can keep on directing the design without falling too much apart. I've seen a lot of it while I was trying to figure out how these works. There's a lot of messy stuff. I don't want to get into that because it was also frustrating for me. But if you guys want to see like some really bad designs, we can surely go over those boards. Maybe I can do another session for that. Maybe we can also see some of them here. Anyways, so first, another thing that I should actually just point out, that you should read the prompt that AI generates for you. It's, for example, for this case, it was way too long, and as a lazy person, I don't read them, and it actually created me a lot of bad results without me knowing like why is this like generating me such stupid designs. So I had to go over it, and there were a lot of like stuff that were unnecessary and adding too much stuff that is actually not relevant to what I'm actually looking for. So yeah, I cleaned it up. I understood what's the problem and moved on. And now also, for example, you can here see some of the artifacts of the initial prompt. Just like this one, for example, if I was mentioning a case somewhere to show a scale, I understand it's actually not bad. I think it's a good idea. But putting a case and also putting like a dimensions next to it, like, doesn't make any sense. Like, just put a banana maybe. It will make a lot more sense. Anyways, so this was the first generation. I didn't really like the rendering method, so I just moved on to the next one here, and it just gave me something more realistic with some cool carbon fiber material, nice color like options here, like has a lot of energy, you know. Also, I really like, I wasn't actually aiming for such silhouette to begin with, like not 100%, because I was thinking about the nose to be here where propellers actually is, but actually swapped it, and I was actually like, okay, this is actually cool. And so it's like, okay, this is mechanical complexity, and we are not really engineers still. Like there's no engineer here pointing a gun at my face telling me like, hey, why is this way? Like it doesn't work. We also need to be a little bit free about our choices, I think, especially when it comes to Vizcom, which is not actually creating us any sort of end results. This is not the end results. This is not where we should be going. This is like a place that we iterate, and this is how we should be treating it. Like so, yeah. I just roll with that, including the complexities around propellers here. So I thought like, yeah, practically probably won't work, and it's actually exposing too much mechanical pieces that will be exposed to the rough environments or weathering and any sort of like snow, fire, or like, I don't know, like extreme conditions, humidity, and it will not be useful for that case. I'm still questioning that actually, but I thought about like, it actually looks nice. It adds some complexity into the design. It makes it look interesting, you know. So maybe we can also somehow put it into a base that can make sense in a way. Here in the variations, I decided to play around with the overall feeling of the surfacing, and I was thinking like, this can have a feeling of something that was designed for the defense industry, while I was not really looking for something like this. I was looking for something that would save lives. So I started playing around with the CMF a little bit, also including the inside the lines inside, or the surfacing inside, I would say, to make it look less hostile. So it started looking a bit more soft, has some pinks, like a bit whites and off-whites and bits of blacks that would give this feeling of a premium like drone design, you know. So I just rolled a bunch of options here, like variations, to see which ones will stick. For example, this definitely did not stick. This is too geometric for what I'm looking for. This is perfect. Like I really like how smooth the lines are. I like how reliable it looks. I like how it has its own weight. The only thing that's actually taking me off here is the coloring. So I thought like, okay, this is the way to go. We are rolling with that, and I started doing more variations here for the color. So once you get here, for example, here just draw the color, variate, and then color just creates you the color palette from the image that it sees. Some of them are they are quite accurate actually, but you do not understand which part actually points out, and you change it and you sometimes don't see its effect. I'm still trying, either I'm like not understanding it correctly yet, or there's something not really going right here, but it's fine. It's like, it's all good. Like whatever we get here is beyond perfect for what we are looking for, and this is what we got here as another option that has like off-whites and some gunmetal surfaces and carbon fiber and stuff, which is also cool. I also really like this, and I like how colors create their own like groupings, and it's actually nice. It's leaving me less room to actually do paint overs. Here are more options. I also like this, but it looks way too dynamic for what I'm looking for. If this was for, I don't know, for racing broadcast or something, I think it will be extremely hot. So yeah, I had to ditch this. So I, in the end, decided to, like, for example, this is also cool. I think this is way too racy still. So I decided to roll the dice again. Think about this, rolling the dice, because it's all like rolling the dice. And the more information you add into this, the more you clarify stuff, the more you're holding the dice while you're throwing it. So it just gets slightly more accurate, but still leave some room for randomness. Just live with that. Yeah, I rolled the dice. This is great. I just moved on, but still I want to do it again and see what I just wanted to see what it will come up with. Why when I put the variation to I think it was like simple organic, like maybe around here somewhere. Maybe I moved it, but it's looking way too much of a design that could be used underwater, which is also cool. And look, why not? And I would also love to see that. It looks like as if it's from Subnautica. I also like this actually, but it's getting, you know, like it's getting to this region of being way too simple. It just doesn't look interesting anymore. And I know some parts are nice. I like the shot lines here and stuff, and it has some interesting parts here and there, but it definitely doesn't really give me this feeling over here with a lot of like contrast between the carbon fiber parts and the off-whites and graphics and the mechanical complexities here and there on the propellers. So I decided to go with this guy here, and I moved on to generating new views. As you can see here, it's failing me all over again, and yeah, I just didn't like how this one turned out. But still, I moved on. I did a bunch of more like iterations here. Somehow it landed here, no pun intended. And I said like, okay, I will use this somewhere. I moved on the side, and I also wanted to see how it looks like from below. Yeah, as you can see, some of the failed designs here, like if you do not specify via sketch, which I didn't actually, you just keep rolling the dice and hope for it to give you something that's consistent. Like, I think you have to feed it with proper references that will just understand what you're actually looking for, but you have to be like extremely on point, and every like reference should serve a purpose for it to understand what you're actually asking for. So for this case, yeah, I didn't do that. I just wanted to see what it will give me for the bottom of the design. Yeah, it generally just, it was underwhelming, to be honest. There are some parts like I'm fine-ish with this, although I think it fails a lot in these areas. I asked it to clean these carbon fiber areas. I don't know why, it just didn't, like, it just enclosed all the propellers. So yeah, has some cool ideas here, but it just fails to understand me, or maybe I'm like failing to communicate with it. I just don't know. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. I just wanted to also see how I can do close-up with this. Like, close-ups are, especially for this mechanical areas, like AI generally doesn't know the purpose, or they don't have any understanding about like how that mechanical part works in detail. So it just gives you some mumbo jumbo. Still, like I said, this is not the end result, and given what we have here, I think we can always take this to Blender and like clean the whole thing up and give it a purpose, make it more like not flexible, like functioning, and have a clearer purpose. At the moment, I think this is fine. Like, I really like the lighting here, but it just, I don't know why it just generated me this. It just popped out of the propeller and just became something by itself. And yeah, it also gave me some randomness here, but still, I think these are nice. These are nice. This is getting somewhere. I like the mechanical complexity still. I like how it's kind of like more defined than I have expected to be. So yeah, I was kind of happy about this. I was thinking about this as a pitch deck, you know, like they give you a task for a day, and they ask you like, hey, we need to design a drone like within a day, and like, I don't know, like we have to present it to a client that we have to get on board, and maybe we can get some funding from it. And you're like, oh, I don't know what to do, and you just get into this and just clarify everything on a napkin sketch, or like somewhere that you like on Vizcom itself, and it just gives you the ideas, and you just put them into the pitch deck, and they were like, oh, it looks like quite polished to me, and let's go. Because in the initial pitch decks, they don't really expect you to clarify many things in a design. They ask, even having such polished designs can be different for many clients who have money in their pockets, because they are just there to get convinced by at least by some numbers, not by the images, and they actually don't expect they don't expect seeing such things in the get-go generally. Then I moved on to animating. There's a bunch of options here. It somehow went crazy as well, which I actually find cool. Yeah, here I was thinking like maybe the propellers can detach from where they are, and it can also move, like rotate maybe in 8 degrees maybe, like, yeah, I think it's like 8 degrees from one area like this, like it rotates, and just does this, maybe it's like 4 up, down, and that it's like 6 degrees, I guess, because it cannot turn this way. Anyways, so it can give more control, especially if you're thinking about this VTOL. It can just go down like closer to a person or area that it's actually needed to be, and it can just balance itself out by just using such functions on the rotors. Yeah, there's some weirdness going on here. I don't know where this, like, it doesn't have the sense of keeping the volume, like, so there's some volume coming out from random places where you did not expect them to be, like there's no physics in here, or physics understanding, which is causing problems during the concepting. But still, I think even just having a few seconds of this can be great for explaining yourself. And yeah, I thought like these were some cool options to show you guys as well. I think this is also very nice. Like, you can easily show these to your colleagues, and they're like, it can create some conversations. This is all about creating conversations with your team and people around you with your ideas, especially with people who cannot understand what your sketches are talking about. So you just give them something a lot more polished for them to understand. I decide to feed it a bit more with some angles. I think I have generated like a 3D projector somewhere. Oh yeah, this is actually a nice bottom piece that I generated, which I'm happy about, but still like the carbon fiber parts here are just driving me nuts. Anyways, I decided to make a bunch of renders here just to wrap it up, at least for the stage. I was thinking about like showing the design in a rough environment, but I didn't want it to become like way too concept arty. So that's why there's some pieces here that I'm not really happy about. I just wanted it to be natural, but also sleek as well. And having the design this way, that's rough, just didn't really give me the feeling of being marketable. So I just put it onto the side. I also don't want it to be marketed as something that's standing on the ground, as a flying object. And I think this has too much contrast. For example, this is nice, kind of I think overwhelming in the design. I think it looks kind of creepy. Still, I think direction wise we're there. I really like the coloring, like color grading of this, so I decided to roll with a similar one. I think this is also nice, has some nice slight bit of roughness onto this, slight bit of texturing. It's okay. This is my favorite one. I think this is explaining the design the best way that I would think of. The only thing that's actually off-putting for me is this, like the tangent of the river and the design. Did I fix it? I actually did not fix it because I was way too lazy and I was at my parents' place and I just didn't want to be bothered by this too much. There's another one. I really like these. This is way too big and I don't know what's going on in many places, so I just ditched that. I have these options here. Yeah, these are not really my favorites. I think this is also fine, but yeah. Then I decide to just play around with the angles and see how it looks like. There's actually some good ones here. For example, you can just drag this here and you can variate. Yeah, in modify you can find new view and you can eventually get this option to see it from different angles. Yeah, some of them actually don't work, like this one looks way too hunchback, which is not actually in the design, but like I said, it doesn't understand volume, so be careful with the kid. He's a bit of dumb fuck, so yeah, you just roll with that. You can always take this and just paint over on Photoshop and you'll be done, I guess. But even having such options within seconds is great. And then I decided to make bits of animations to showcase the design a little bit. Let's see how it feels, you know, like how it looks like in action. This creepy angle that I thought like maybe could work as a 360, it somehow didn't work. Didn't give me proper turntable, but still I see some movement on the LiDAR lens here. I think it's cool. It's nice to see. I think it will be a cool proof of concept. Yeah, here we have really nice transition. It goes back into the design and it starts falling apart. Yeah, you just have to have more control. You have to have various views nailed down and just put them together here so it can understand that you have such design. The back part looks like this, the bottom part looks like this, and you have the whole view, and you can just do 360. We can come down to that. We can try it out actually. And for some others, yeah, there are some parts. For example, this is a really nice view, by the way. I really like this. I don't know what's going on with propellers. Anyways, this is also really nice. I actually have, I think this is one of my favorite renders here. Still, the propellers are kind of looking weird, but still, I think we can live with that. These are generic AI generated videos that are like extremely slow paced. I don't know. I think it's for keeping the consistency. They are doing them that way. Yeah, I just find them boring, to be honest. And yeah, this was overall workflow that I actually followed in Vizcom. And yeah, this was a video as a proof of concept, let's say. And like, I think by using the power of tools that we have here, I think we can reach to some different boundaries, and maybe it can allow us to do more experimenting. And I'm actually looking forward to that too. I think I will do a bit of more stuff like this. If you also think that way, please let me know in the comments below. Because I really find this enjoyable, and sometimes like I feel like I'm getting lost in the softwares too much while I'm designing. So I was thinking like having this flow here is like constantly creating stuff and just coming up with some cool ideas, like very like fast like this. I really find it intuitive, and it's actually fun. Like for example, using Blender is also fun, but it sometimes gets too much. It becomes too much because of 3D software anyways. And having such freedom, it just sometimes helps, you know, just opens your hands a little bit and just go with the flow and just enjoy your time and stuff. Also including Claude in our design flow is also became very useful. I'm currently using it for a daily basis almost. Also I have scheduled all those like design briefs, and I am getting design briefs every week that I'm trying to follow. This was a brief from 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It took me like a day, I guess, to just do all the things here, and I didn't really get a chance to polish them. And I was actually looking forward to jump into Blender and just do some modeling for us as well. Maybe like in the future we can do that. For now though, I would like to wrap up this video, and maybe we can move on to our next topic. Maybe we can design something else. I will have a look. I will see what Claude will suggest. Otherwise, if I won't like it, I'll just do something else. Just think of it that way, that AI, whatever AI says is not cast in stone. Just screw that, you know. Enjoy your time, enjoy what you actually do, and don't listen to people that says that, oh, this is the way to go, and just you're fucked if you just don't embrace. Just do your thing. Anyways, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your support. It was a long video. I wasn't actually expecting it to be this much. I think the first half was kind of a drag. Feel free to skip that sure you also already have skipped or jumped into a different video on YouTube land. If so, yeah, I hope you're enjoying your time. If you came back here at some point, yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. And I'll see you guys on the next video soon. Ciao, ciao. Bye. Oh, and also, please leave a comment down below. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.